So in the last video then we were talking about the LRO, Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, and this is a picture that it took when it was sort of in a situation like this where the Earth was here and the moon might have been here, for example, and of course the sun would have been here. And the reason why I know that is because the sun's light would have been sort of going this way, and some of the light would have been bouncing off the Earth and just illuminating the whole thing. In other words, the light for illuminating the scene is sort of going this way. And the satellite at this time was probably something like, maybe like right here. The LRO, there's my solar panels again, we're sort of like right there. Okay, and so what happened, of course, is it's just looking directly at the Earth like this. So here's the view of the LRO, and that's sort of the image that we see right here. But of course we know that the moon is continuing its orbit around the Earth. So the moon is going to keep going that way. Or the reconnaissance orbit of the LRO is continuing its orbit around that way. Either way, there's some relative motion between the LRO satellite and the moon. And so we're sort of looking at this, and just lo and behold, as the video footage kept going, watch what happened. You just won't believe it. The moon suddenly appears in the field of view, and you can see that backside, which we're never used to seeing right there. Isn't this just the most fantastic video you've ever seen? This is not computer generated. This is actual footage from the LRO in that orbit that's a little bit further out than the moon. And of course, if you're in a situation like that, then once in a while, the moon, let me show that again, the moon is just going to come on in your field of view. And so all in one scene, you see the Earth, you see the moon in its orbit, you see the backside, which was first not even known until 1957, all in glorious high-resolution detail. What just a fantastic picture. Just really something. I mean, come on. You gotta love this. If we go to the next slide, this is sort of a still shot. This is sort of what you see. And so I say again, you see the backside in high-resolution detail. There's a little bit of the Maria right there that we saw in the picture, but that's what we got. And it just sort of shows with this marvelous technology that we have how we can really start imaging and seeing our solar system and moon and all that sort of as it exists, right? You're just sort of sitting there and suddenly the moon moves into your field of view. It's like, sorry, you guys, can't let you look at the Earth right now. The moon's in the way, and off it goes. I just think it's a great shot, just best ever. And so let me just let you look at the moon then, because what the LRO has done as it orbits is it can collect all these fine high-resolution images of the moon. And so the astronomers or NASA have put it all together into a graphic like this so you can really just see what our full moon looks like. And again, one of the reasons why this should just sort of feel a little strange to you is because, your whole life, whenever you look to the moon, you're only seeing that front face of it that we're used to seeing, which sort of is like right about here. This is all you've ever seen of the moon, because there's no other way of seeing it unless you get in a rocket or a satellite and go to that other side. And so, I say again, just take a minute and just look at your moon. Look how dark those Maria are, and there's all these little splotches here and a few like that. Look at all these over here, little ancient lava flows all dried up. There's that big dark splotch that I showed you on the exact opposite side. And here we come back around to the front again. This is your moon. I think it's just wonderful. Okay. In terms of landings on the moon, there's some interesting things also. There was a bunch of landings on the moon, but I want to point out just one in particular, that if you can ever go look at the moon, and again, it'll be much, much, much smaller than this, okay? It will never look this large. You really have to go outside with the intent of sort of just looking at the moon for a little bit. In binoculars, you can't get the whole moon in binocular view, but some you certainly can. But I just want to point out that if you can ever get out there and if you can ever sort of visualize the rabbit head like this that's made out of the dark Maria like that, if you can ever do that, which is not easy, again, you have to really just sort of plan on doing this, then if you look sort of right here on that, I don't know, if this is the sort of the upper and lower rabbit ear, if you look right there on the lower rabbit ear, that's where the very first moon landing occurred. Okay, that's sort of where that first footprint is going to be and all that sort of thing. I mean, you can sort of point that out. You really have to look hard, though, because, again, the moon isn't that big in the sky. These are just photographs. So if I go back even to here, what I just told you then is, again, here's that bunny rabbit. There's ear 1 and there's ear 2. And so that very first footprint is right around there. That's the first time that humans set foot on the moon, or even something other than the Earth for that matter, is right there. And so you can just sort of go out and spot this stuff. again, almost, getting more familiar with their night sky and being a better camper. What a cool thing to tell people. It's like, hey, everyone, see those two things that look like ears? If you just sort of get over there and look off to the side, that's where the first footprint is. I go, well, how did you know that? I go, well, I took astronomy at Cal Poly, and that's how I figured it out. And anyway, so that's where they are. And the LRO, because it's so close to the moon, can get some really high resolution images of this area. And you can see just all of the various details on there. And you can definitely Google these things here. Here's where the lander was. There's where the flag of the United States is supposedly still flying. There's tracks showing they drove the buggy around. Lunar rover vehicle, I think it was called, is parked right here, and you can see some tracks where the astronauts sort of walked around. So they're getting all this stuff, and it's kind of interesting to see this again. The LRO was launched something like in 2018. The last moon mission was in the 1970s, something like that. So things just sat and sat and sat and sat. So all this time later, we're going back and looking at what we've done up there. Okay, so that's sort of it for my videos on getting you introduced to the moon. So we need to talk about why that same side always faces us. I need to tell you why there is no such thing as the dark side of the moon. And I have some various simulators and graphics to show you. So I'll have those coming out in subsequent videos.